But the Falcons got stomped
Oh
at
my
home
gosh.
as the favorites by the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, not playing anybody in preseason. They lost 32-6. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't pass the ball. They just looked terrible. I don't know how Arthur Smith got this job because he is not an offensive guru, at least not yet. He hasn't figured out how to run that personnel. I don't know what they were doing, but it was really, really bad. On the other side, though, Jalen Hurts. Tell me about Jalen Hurts. Tell the
Well,
people about Jalen Hurts.
well,
He was
first
just spectacular.
let's talk about Atlanta first and foremost, because I think that is an interesting, how much stock should we put into the teams that actually, you probably should play your starters some in preseason. I mean, there's only 3 games, right? And nothing simulates live in-game action. And when you just roll them out there week 1 with no sort of preparation, this is what you get. They look inept. They look terrible. They look bad.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to get any better for Atlanta anytime soon. So I want to start. Let's start with Atlanta, because Philly was one of the bright spots of the weekend for me. One of the bright spots of Sunday. Matt Ryan, 21 for 35, 164 yards. That's it. I love Kyle Pitts. I think he's going to be a fantastic player. But this is why you probably don't draft the tight end number 4 overall. Especially when you have a quarterback who's on the back 9 of his career. Matt Ryan is in his last years as an NFL starter. He just is. And when you've got talents like Justin Fields sitting right there from you, from the state of Georgia, you don't pass on that for a tight end, man. You don't do it. And I think that move, I think that's going to come back. If Justin Fields wins the Super Bowl in Chicago, it's going to be Sam Bowie, Michael Jordan type, just mistake. You just don't.
Yeah.
That just seemed. I'm watching it now. To Ryan's credit, the offensive line looks putrid. They play Tampa Bay in Tampa next weekend. Not good. I was excited early. Yeah, they play in Tampa. I was excited early. Calvin Ridley had 3 receptions, 39 yards in the first drive, and then he doesn't catch another pass until I think the 3rd or 4th quarter. Doesn't even get a target to catch a pass. Kyle Pitts did nothing. I think he had 4 receptions. I had the over Kyle Pitts everything. Over 4.5 receptions, over 39 yards. Come on, Kyle Pitts. He did nothing. Mike Davis looked good when they gave him the ball. Then they're doing this thing record. The offense looked like they had no continuity, no identity. They look terrible. And it's going to be a damn shame that Atlanta's going to go from being able to potentially have Justin Fields as their quarterback to Carson Strong next year. That's going to be just, you talk about just a major letdown. I mean, that probably is the equivalent of my favorite saying. It's like watching porn and not finishing, man. That's just the letdown is real when you have Justin Fields in your back pocket and you pass on him. But let's talk about Philadelphia, because they were fantastic. I think they looked one of the best offensive performances that we saw this weekend, and it was just efficient, right? Jalen Hurts came out there. He looked in total command of that offense, 27 for 35, 264, 3 touchdowns, gave you 62 yards on the ground. Miles Sanders looked fantastic, 15 for 74, had 4 receptions, 39 yards. Rager looked good, 6 for 49 and a touchdown. And this is Rager. He needs to be in that complimentary role, that number 2 wide receiver role. Quez Watkins came out the gate. He had 3 receptions on the first drive. I mean, He looked great. Dallas Goedert looked good. Zach Ertz was getting involved. And then the Slim Reaper in his NFL debut, 6 receptions, 71 yards and a touchdown. He looked like Devonta Smith. He looks like the number 1. Any player prop line you get for Devonta Smith and his receptions are 4.5 to 5.5 yards, smash the over. This was one of the ones that we didn't understand the line. 3.5 receptions for Smith. And then I think it was 43 yards, 44 receiving yards.
Yeah,
and we were
44 yards.
Smash the over. You can find all of my bets on FTN Bets Tracker. So everything for the week, all the player props. That's all I'm doing this season is player props, maybe a little over, under. But the Eagles looked great. Jalen Hurts looks like the future. I mean, I know it's week 1. I know the Falcons defense doesn't look very good. But at this point, do we really know what defense looks good? We just talked about Arizona's defense supposed to be god-awful.
Yeah.
And they were really good. So I don't think we know anything. I mean, we do know Atlanta stinks. They don't look good. But what are your thoughts on Philadelphia? Because I was very impressed.
I really liked what I saw. And one of the things I want to point out about Jalen Hurts, and it's nothing new for people who've been watching him a long time, but I was very impressed with how well he looked in the pocket. Not just as a passer in the pocket, but he looks like one of the most difficult players to sack in all of the NFL. Harder than Lamar Jackson, harder than Kyler Murray. Just the way that he plays in the pocket, the way he uses his mobility, he plays so under control. As much as I love what Kyler does, he doesn't do it with the same level of control. It doesn't appear to have the same level of control, maybe because he plays so fast. He's always moving around so much, and he kind of leaves the pocket a little bit too early sometimes, but he does great things with it, so who's really complaining? But Jalen Hurts was under control of that offense. He knew where the ball needed to go, when it needed to go there. When he ran the ball, he was just running at a steady pace, doing what he had to do to make sure the offense kept moving. It was great to see, for a guy who had a lot of criticism, maybe and a lot of it unfairly so, but someone who had a lot of criticism kind of coming in. Is he the starter? Is he Nick Sirianni's guy? Nick Sirianni, man, he ran a good ship.
He looked good.
They played really well.
Didn't we talk about this in the preseason? I talked about this. I said Sirianni looks really good, man.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, remember, it was game 1. They looked great, and then they looked not so good the next 2 games. But what I've seen so far, and I saw a tweet about this before, don't judge a head coach based on his first press conference, because we all remember Nick Sirianni had that terrible first press conference, deer in the headlights the whole way. But first game, he looked pretty damn good, even against the terrible offense and defense that's probably bottom 5 in both categories in the NFL.
I'm in on Jalen Hurts, and I traded him to you in the league. I'm regretting that.
Yes,
I think he's gonna be really, really good. I think, and here's the thing with Philly. They're gonna have 3 first-round picks because of the Wentz stuff with the trades.
Yeah.
They could turn this thing around really quickly. With those offensive weapons, doesn't it make a difference when you have an improved offensive line? We talked about how bad their O-line was last year. Their O-line is healthy. They get some playmakers. They switch some players around. You get Quez Watkins in the lineup. You play Dallas Goedert more. You get a true alpha in Devonta Smith. And, oh, my God, surprise, surprise, the Eagles look good. If they take those 3 first, shore up the linebacking core, get some more secondary help, continue to add to the offensive front for Jalen Hurts, because they don't need any more offensive weapons. Like, they're good.
No, not at all.
With Kenneth Gainwell, Miles Sanders, good money. Hurts, Smith, Rager, Watkins, even Ortega-Whiteside was out there blocking. Like, they don't need any more skill position players.
And Hurts looked great too.
And Hurts looked great. If they allocate those 3 picks to the defense, Philadelphia could wreck the NFC East for some time, man. Really impressed with the Eagles.